This apology has been a long time in the making. Too long.
We are here today to acknowledge a historic wrong.
There is so much work left to be done, but now together, we can start. Hey! We can start.
It was an extraordinary event. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau apologizing on behalf of all Canadians for the damage inflicted upon residential school students.
Indigenous youth were torn away from their families, told to renounce their culture and placed in residential schools, 4 of them in Labrador and 1 on the Northern Peninsula.
Today, that apology was delivered and accepted by many, but not all survivors.
Welcome to a special edition of Here and Now. We have extensive coverage of Ottawa's formal apology to former students of residential schools.
We'll hear from the Prime Minister and Inuk Toby Obed, who accepted the apology on behalf of those students.
But not everyone welcomed it. The Grand Chief of the Innu Nation, Gregory Rich, explains why he's rejecting the apology.
The CBC's Bailey White, Jacob Barker and Katie Breen are all reporting live tonight from Labrador, as is Mark Quinn, and that's where we start.
Well, it must have been a deeply emotional day for residential school survivors, Mark. After years of denial, they finally got an apology.
That's right, Debbie. After a long, sometimes agonizing fight, Newfoundland and Labrador residential school survivors have finally received the apology they wanted.
Today, I humbly stand before you to offer a long overdue apology.
For some, like Toby Obed, the relief was explosive.
I thought we'd be fighting the courts for years and years and years. Sorry, but you were fighting me. I'm hard-headed.
For other survivors, there were quiet tears. Cindy Dwyer was sexually abused at a Labrador residential school. Before Trudeau spoke, she said she would listen carefully with a critical ear.
I accept his apology. I think he was sincere. Yeah, it was really emotional. I found it emotional anyway.
Hundreds of survivors were here, but some, such as Innu Nation elders, refused to come. Trudeau says the federal government wants to work with them, too.
People are at different places in their healing journey. There is a lot of anger, a lot of hurt, a lot of people who continue to struggle every day with the impacts of residential schools. We are here to work with them on this journey in respecting their time and their pace on this.
Now, many people told me today this was a very important day for them, but no one expects it will fix everything. But they did say it was important to hear that what happened to them was wrong as what happened to residential school survivors across this country. Mark Quinn, CBC News, Happy Valley Goose Bay.
The Prime Minister called it a dark and shameful chapter in our country's history. He said Aboriginal children in this province lost their language and their traditions when they were separated from their parents and forced into residential schools. An
emotional Justin Trudeau said thousands were taught to be ashamed of who they were and where they came from.
Today, I humbly stand before you to offer a long overdue apology to the former students of the Lockwood School in Cartwright, the Makowik Boarding School, the Nain Boarding School, the St. Anthony Orphanage and Boarding School, and the Yale School in Newfoundland and Labrador, on behalf of the Government of Canada and all Canadians. To the families, loved ones, and communities impacted by the tragic legacy of these schools, Tia Jinji Lajut, Apu Usta Tadat. To all of you, we are sorry. For far too many students, profound cultural loss led to poverty, family violence, substance abuse, and community breakdown. It led to mental and physical health issues that have impeded their happiness and that of their family. Far too many continue to face adversity today as a result of time spent in residential schools, and for that, we are sorry. Saying that we are sorry today is not enough. It will not erase the loneliness you have felt. It will not undo the harm you have suffered. It will not bring back the languages and traditions that you have lost. It will not take away the isolation and vulnerability you felt when separated from your families, communities, and cultures. It will not repair the hardships you endured in the years that followed as you struggled to recover from what you experienced in the schools and move forward with your lives. But today, I'm here to tell you, on behalf of the Government of Canada and of all Canadians, that this burden is one that you no longer have to carry alone.
Obviously a lot of emotion there, Debbie, and there was a lot of emotion on the part of the man who was asked to accept the Prime Minister's apology on behalf of all former residential school students.
Here's Inuk Toby Obed, who fought for over a decade to get an apology and to reach a settlement for survivors.
Because I've come from a patient and forgiving culture. Because I come from a patient and forgiving culture. I think it is proper for us to accept the apology from the Government of Canada. Love you, sister. I love you. This apology is an important part of the healing. Today, the survivors of Newfoundland and Labrador, we can finally feel a part of the community of survivors nationwide across Canada. We have connected with the rest of Canada. We got our apology. I accept your apology on behalf of the residential school survivors, even though some may not want me to. Not gonna make Prime Minister, Mr. Bennett, for coming to Labrador, and giving us our apology that we deserved. And it's in person. It was not on the news. We didn't have to go out to them, they came to us. Whoever thought Who would have ever thought, after 10 years, going to court, testifying, reliving that story, reliving the past, reliving them hurts. Whoever thought that today, whoever thought that today, I never thought this would happen. I never thought that this would happen. I thought we'd be fighting the courts for years and years and years. Sorry, but you were fighting me. I'm hard-headed. I'm strong, and I have that drive. I have that drive, and I can do it again. When I went to court, every time I went to court, I've done this in 3 parts. First, for all those people that wanted to go to court and who wanted to testify and who wanted to tell their story. Secondly, I've done it for all those who passed away and are looking down on heaven at us now, watching us rejoice, watching us feel this moment. We feel it. I always put myself last when I went to court. I always put myself last. There were times when I wanted to quit and stop, and what in the hell am I doing this for? I don't want to hurt no more. I don't want to relive this no more. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to feel it. I don't want those memories. I don't want those flashbacks. I want to quit. I want to quit. Too hard-headed to quit me.
As Toby Obed, the Inuk who accepted the apology, and his whole presentation was this storm of emotions from joy to laughter to anger. It was really quite incredible.
It was palpable.
Yeah. Now, for more reaction on today's historic event at the Lawrence O'Brien Centre in Happy Valley Goose Bay, we go now to Here and Now's Jacob Barker. Jacob.
Well, after that event led out, there was no shortage of reaction, and I went to speak to Joanna Michelle, an Innu woman from Shejit, whose story I told you about earlier this week.
Being in there felt like I was like back in the dorm. I felt like there was tears running from my eyes, and I could feel that tension. I could feel that they were talking about the hurt. So it's a good day today to see that a lot of people moved on.
Both for the personal level and for the professional level is impactful. So for Inuit, this is the closure of the gap in the apologies and the considerations for Inuit who went to residential school. And then for me personally, my father went to residential school in St. Anthony, and it's something that's impacted my life as the son of a residential school survivor my whole life. So hearing an apology from the federal government, from Prime Minister Trudeau, it was very meaningful.
And I got the gist of it, and that people were here all together, and they had been through a traumatic experience in their lives. And it brought them problems in their family life and in their futures and in their education. And I'm glad they had the chance to be here together.
Well, Rose Pomick also said she's happy to hear that the province will be offering an apology of its own. She says that's also an apology that needs to happen. Reporting live for Here and Now, I'm Jacob Barker.
Now, after the break, Ryan will be by with your weekend weather forecast.
And after that, my conversation with Innu Nation Grand Chief Gregory Rich on why he's rejecting the Prime Minister's apology. Stay with us.
This weather update is brought to you by the Take Charge Business Efficiency Program. Over 400 businesses have saved energy and taken charge of their bottom line. Find out how you can too.
Welcome back to Here and Now. Obviously, the weekend is upon us. A lot of people making their plans.
As I say, the most important forecast of the week.
Yeah, and there's a lot going on this weekend. Obviously, the St. John Santa Claus Parade on Sunday, so we're going to hone in on that in just a second. Today was a cool day, certainly, and a little on the blustery side for the West Coast. Now, over the last few weeks, I've been showing webcam shots, live current conditions. Not as easy now when it's dark, but I did take a snapshot from earlier, and this was the scene in Corner Brook around 3:30 this afternoon, and you can see where, a little on the white side there with those onshore flurries blowing in. The temperature at that point around 3:30 was 1. It's dropped to freezing, and again with those westerly winds, it has been just a little blustery. Gusts up to 60 kilometers per hour earlier there. -7 in Happy Valley, Goose Bay, -13 in Labrador City right now. This is what it feels like with the wind chill. If you're heading out this Friday evening, you're going to want to throw on that extra layer. -3 is what it feels like in St. John's. Sustained winds in that 20, 30, even 40 kilometer per hour range towards Bonavista and along the coast of Labrador. A little on the breezy side there as well. Talked about the radar, and this has been the scene for most of the afternoon along the West Coast with these flurries that have been rolling in. Starting to taper off already. You can see that in the last few radar returns. Still a little on the steady side up towards the Grossmorn and Daniels Harbor region, where again, even the webcams became a little whited out at times today as things were, again, quite blustery. Now that does taper off tonight, but our next systems are already on the doorstep. This low rolling out of the Great Lakes and its warm front that's extending across the Maritimes rolls in through the overnight tonight. Holding hands with this system, that's going to be our Sunday rainmaker for the island and our snowmaker later Sunday into Monday for Labrador. And we'll talk about that, and here's your timeline. Note those gusts that do taper off through the overnight hours, especially in through eastern parts of Newfoundland, where we're talking about some gusts up to around 30 kilometers per hour for tomorrow morning, but generally winds aren't going to be a big issue to start Saturday. Snow tracking into Labrador through the overnight tonight. Perhaps a few early morning flurries along the west coast of the island, Corner Brook, down towards the Stephenville region and as far north as Grossmorn. Certainly the risk is there. It's a pretty frosty start for central and eastern Newfoundland. Certainly some windshields to scrape. -17 back on the menu for you folks in Labrador City. As we roll into the noon hour on Saturday, we're going to be seeing those early morning flurry turn to some shower chances, mainly north of Corner Brook up towards the northern peninsula. We're looking at a chance of some afternoon showers along the south coast. As we roll into the afternoon, temperatures 6, 7, to even 8 degrees and even 9 potentially along the west coast. Winds in from the south will gust 60 to 70 kilometers per hour. And there's that snow tracking through Labrador. We're looking at about 5 to 10 centimeters with this system for the Saturday and into the overnight hours. By the time we get to Sunday morning, you can see that's tapered off. Periods of rain on the menu for Sunday, pretty much from start to finish for the northern peninsula, western Newfoundland. Shower chances through the morning become periods of rain into the afternoon for central and then eventually eastern Newfoundland. But watch your timeline here. There's noon, there's 3 p.m., and then it's after 3 p.m., I think, where we really start to turn those shower chances up, and then they become periods of rain later afternoon into the evening hours. Temperatures by the end of the afternoon on Sunday will get into that 9-degree range, but it won't be until late day that that warmer air does arrive. Starting to see some snow develop late day in Labrador as well. And so a quick look at that Santa Claus Parade beginning at noon, ending at around 2, 3 o'clock. Those shower chances increasing as the time moves on. Temperatures near 5 degrees at that point in the day, and winds are going to turn gustier throughout the afternoon as well. Gusts 50 to 60 by around mid-afternoon. We'll talk more about this in your long-range forecast with snow chances for the island next week. That's still to come.
We are sorry.
Well, the Prime Minister's apology to survivors of abuse at residential schools was welcomed by many today, but the leadership of the Innu Nation decided not to attend. Gregory Rich is the Grand Chief of the Innu Nation, and he's in Happy Valley, Goose Bay. Well, Grand Chief, why didn't the Innu Nation accept today's apology?
Well, we've met with our elders and the community yesterday at Shishaju, and there were many things that that were discussed, and the meeting was very emotional, and that's when we decided we're not going to accept the apology.
Was it a hard decision to take?
It's not really, because when you think about the things that happened to the Innu people for many, many years, it wasn't a very hard decision to make, no.
So, Grand Chief, some say it was an opportunity for reconciliation on the issue of abuse at those schools, but you don't think this was a missed opportunity in any way?
No, we didn't miss an opportunity, because a lot of issues that we need to talk about, the federal government need to talk about, and one of the things is child welfare.
On the point of some of the things that need to be understood, you said in a release, "I'm not satisfied that Canada understands yet what it has done to Innu and what it is still doing." What did you mean?
Well, I meant that when we talk to the federal government about the inquiry example, we want them to be involved in the inquiry, to be partners, but they're not responding. They're not saying that no, we acknowledge their problems in the child welfare and we want to be part of the solution. But that's not what they're saying.
So you're referring to the inquiry into Innu children in the child welfare system that both the province and the Innu Nation have agreed to, and you want Ottawa involved in that, don't you?
Yes, we want Ottawa to be involved, because Ottawa are the main funders for this department, and Ottawa should be part of this inquiry, and because today in our communities a lot of our kids are being removed, and you know, when these kids go outside the community, and when they come back, there's a lot of disconnection between the community.
Do you think your stand by not accepting this apology today from the Prime Minister will influence Ottawa to get on board with this inquiry?
That's many reasons why we didn't go to the apology, and also at the same time we are talking about the physical sexual abuse that happened in the community schools, like in the 70s, 60s, and the 80s. That abuse, the sexual abuse, physical abuse by the nuns and by the school systems is still there, and it's not being addressed, and it's affecting the lives of our Innu people today.
And Grand Chief, the International Grenfell Association issued their own apology today. They said, you know, for healing to begin, truly begin, an apology is necessary. How do you respond?
With the school systems in the community, there was no one ever addressed, and no one ever talked about it, especially with the federal and provincial governments, because I was one of the students in those schools, and I've witnessed a lot of things that happen in those schools, and I think federal government was also a major funder for these schools, and I think in order for us to move forward, the governments need to be part of it, and the provincial government, and the healing and reconciliation can begin.
Grand Chief Gregory Rich, thank you very much for being with us today.
Yeah, thank you, Debbie.
I'm Bailey White in Happy Valley Goose Bay. Coming up, we'll meet two Indigenous women who are too young to remember residential schools, but still understand their legacy.
Welcome back to Here and Now. We return to Labrador now, where Prime Minister Justin Trudeau apologized to residential school survivors this morning.
Labrador Morning's Bailey White has been talking to some young people who aren't old enough to remember residential schools, and yet they were still moved by today's events. Bailey?
Well, one thing that Justin Trudeau stressed in his apology today was that the trauma of residential schools didn't end with the survivors, that in fact it was passed on to children and grandchildren. I spoke to two young women, Desiree Rich and Leanna Rice. They both have relatives who are older than them, who attended residential school, and I asked those two young ladies what this apology meant to them.
It's hard, it's like a heavy day. So the whole time I was thinking about my Anansiak and my Aunt Ruth, who both attended residential school but both passed away before they could be here for the apology. So I don't know, I'm not sure of how I'm feeling as of like right now. It's kind of like a relief because I feel like the apology was sincere. But my heart hurts that my Anansiak and my aunt couldn't be here for it.
Desiree, what were your impressions?
I felt like the energy was really sad, and I know that it was a part of the healing process because a lot of people there were just letting their feelings out by crying, and it was really important today.
It was a recognition of what our family had been through, because up until this point the government of Canada didn't even recognize that this was something that they needed to apologize for. So I think just recognizing that it helps us understand the things that we experienced in our lives that maybe have been a result of that.
Desiree, what about you? What did it mean to you as a young person to hear from the Prime Minister say he's sorry?
It meant a lot to me because none of this, I never heard of residential schools till I was like 20 or 21 years old, and that should be taught everywhere. That should be taught in high school because it's a really, really big part of our history.
So Desiree and Leanna both have relatives who are older than them who went to residential school. I also want to introduce you to Sarah Anala. She's from Nain and she's a residential school survivor herself. I sat down with her yesterday and I asked her about her experience. I asked her if she was angry about what happened to her. Here's some of what she said.
There are many who have the history and the experience of going through very nasty, negative experiences in association with speaking Inuktitut, being punished for speaking Inuktitut, and saying that drumming and chanting and lighting the hulik were heathens and pagans practice, which that was not what it was. We had our own form of spirituality and our own form of religion before anyone landed on the shores here. I was one of the very fortunate ones where by the time I landed in residential school in Northwest River, I was already very strong in culture and language and tradition. The reason I say I was very fortunate is because I'm still fluent in Inuktitut. Considering that many were beaten and punished for speaking in Inuktitut, it's huge for our generation to still be fluent in Inuktitut. I missed the smell of my own home. I missed my mother comforting me. I missed our food. Part of my experience, because I've always been small, as you can see, I was bullied a lot. I learned early that anger only destroys your own spirit. Instead of using anger to drive me, I chose to become an activist. I chose to try and stand for those who had no voice. That was driven by teachings from my elders when I was younger, actually. It was prophesied, you know, in Oaklock Bay region, that when the Inuit drum came back, that the social ills of northern Labrador would begin to subside, and that we would become more empowered as a peoples against that the experience of colonization. It's back in the youth. The youth brought it back. That is huge. It's the heartbeat of our people, you see. And it was not, we were not assimilated. We were stronger than that.
So that's residential school survivor Sarah Anila from Nain.
And thanks to you, Bailey, for bringing us this coverage tonight. Bailey White is the host of Labrador Morning. Thanks again.
Well, it was a beautiful day in some parts, including in the Bonavista Vista region. This was the shot this afternoon, just off the Bonavista Vista Peninsula, courtesy of Mark Gray. We'll have your another recap of your weather forecast and a look into next week, which looks active after the break.
Welcome back once again. The weekend weather, of course, is of interest to us. And for many people in the St. John's area and surrounding areas, they come into downtown on Sunday for the parade.
That's right. And we'll want to make sure we bring the umbrella because shower chances certainly for the parade, unfortunately. But it looks like the heaviest rain holds off until a later day because it looks like Sunday will turn very wet later on. Big thanks to everybody who did offer their well, just basically offer to, I don't know, carry me, help me ride through the parade with my my bad foot. I am going to be hobbling through for somewhat, but it looks like the St. John's Fire Department has kindly offered to let me ride on one of their trucks. So, but thanks to the Shriners and lots of folks who reached out. Yeah, so watch for me to toot the horn as we blow down Water Street, and of course for the St. John's Parade. We'll have the forecast recap in just a second again. Minus 12 in through the Fort Mac region right now, 7 in Calgary. You can see where Canada kind of divided right now. Lots of warm air to the south, but a couple of systems that we're keeping an eye on are one here across Ontario and the other one just off the southeast parts of the U.S. Those are our weekend weather makers. And the good news for the West Coast, after what has been kind of a white flurry day, flurry-filled day along the West Coast, that comes to an end through the overnight. But quickly through tomorrow morning, we bring more flurry chances back in for Stephenville, Corner Brook, up through the Grossmorn area to the Northern Peninsula. Snow tracks through Labrador through the day tomorrow and into the overnight with 5 to 10 centimeters there. Clears out pretty nicely across most of the island. Some light scattered shower chances along that south coast later parts of the day as moisture increases with this southeasterly flow into Sunday morning. That system, next system tracks in through the day on Sunday. Note by noon, certainly a shower chance, but that really increases towards the 3 p.m. time period when the parade will start to wrap up. And then that heavier rain comes in as we roll into the later parts of the day. So in case you missed it earlier, I think temperatures in the 5, warming to about 6-degree range by around 3 p.m. And those shower chances do increase through the afternoon with the rain arriving later in the day and winds a little on the breezy side as well with gusts from the southeast. So a quick look at that forecast over the next 3 days and you can see where we're warming up by the end of the day. By evening, 9-10 degrees across the island. Monday starts mild, but I think temperatures are going to drop through the day, and here's why. We've got a bit of a southerly flow to start the day. Colder air wrapping on the back side of the system means for Monday, onshore flurries for the west coast, and then an interesting setup for Monday night into Tuesday as that cold air meets another system passing just offshore. Again, this is still a few days out, but the possibility of some snow for the Avalon for Monday night into Tuesday. We'll be keeping an eye on that over the next couple of days. And as we roll into the Tuesday time period, bit of a clear out. Next system comes in with more snow chances for Wednesday across the island. So yeah, definitely more of a white looking forecast, at least in the mix for the island next week as temperatures kind of flirt with the freezing mark and some cold pushes of air here for later Monday into Tuesday. Wednesday into Thursday again, and a bit of a clear out for Friday. And there's your forecast in Labrador. Again, deep cold in Lab West right through the next 7.
We'll speak with the lawyer who helped survivors and their families get to where we are today.
And it is time now to meet our young athlete of the day. Here is Zachary Fudge of Glenwood. Zachary is 5 and loves playing all sports.
Great smile. This is his second year playing hockey with the Gander Flyers.
Congratulations, Zachary. You're today's young athlete of the day.
Well, most survivors and their families were thankful the federal government apologized today.
But they were also grateful for the people who helped them win their case in court.
This is real. This is really happening. After 10 years, fighting, going to court, testifying. Steve Cooper, thank you. Steve Cooper, thank you. If it wasn't for you, Steve Cooper, you wouldn't be here today.
And joining us now live is Here Now's Katie Breen in Happy Valley Goose Bay.
And she spoke with Stephen Cooper, the lawyer that you just heard Toby Obed thank. Katie?
That's right. Stephen Cooper was the main lawyer here in Labrador, and he also had a hand in the Pan-Canadian settlement years ago. That experience helped him shape this case. For example, today, Trudeau technically didn't have to apologize. It wasn't required of him, but in 2008 with Harper, it was. It was mandatory that he apologize.
I think that the words chosen by Prime Minister Harper at the time were good, but it sort of lacked something, and I've heard that for the last almost 10 years. What we decided to do this time was, let's not make it compulsory, let's make it voluntary. And, you know, there's a bit of a risk in that it might not happen, and we knew how important the apology would be. But this was a voluntary, very sincerely delivered, complete apology, acceptance of liability, and recognition of the experiences that the residential school survivors in this province went through.
Cooper was able to expedite the process and make it easier on survivors emotionally. Not all of them had to get up and explain exactly what happened to them. They were trusted on their word that this is exactly what happened to them. And that sped things up, that they were trusted, and led to where we are today.
People start the healing at the moment of the apology. There are certain things that have taken place in the decades leading up to this, but in terms of the effect of drawing the whole matter to a conclusion, the healing really starts here. And I think that that's important. It can't start while there's so much anger and frustration at the government when they were for a decade refusing to admit liability. That ends today.
There was a sense of closure here today. The apology happened and the settlement was handled. For the most part, everyone here has gotten their share of the $50 million settlement, but that's not the case elsewhere in Canada. Indigenous survivors there, well, some of them are still in court trying to get recognized that way. Reporting live in Happy Valley Goose Bay, I'm Katie Breen for Here and Now.
It's important to remember that apart from the symbolic and significance of the apology, there was that court decision which was finalized in September for the $50 million, which backs up the apology in at least a substantial way as a remedy.
It's a long road, but we got to this today. Well, turning now to national news, Sobeys, the second largest grocery chain in Canada, has confirmed it's cutting about 800 office jobs across the country. The Nova Scotia-based retailer has stores in hundreds of communities across the country. The cuts represent about 20% of Sobeys' office staff. Last May, Sobeys began restructuring to create one national organization out of 5 regional operations. Its parent company says it's on track to reach $500 million in annual cost savings. Traditional grocery chains have been facing competition from department and drugstores, and most recently, online retailers.
Well, it's Black Friday, a big shopping day that started south of the border and now is a big thing in this country. Black Friday is a relatively new phenomenon in Canada, but it's catching on quickly. Many consumers lined up at 6 a.m. this morning at some stores. Like Americans, Canadians are now increasingly viewing Black Friday as the official start of the holiday shopping season.
All right, sunrise. Beautiful picture there. And a sunrise that will be actually hopefully similar to this in some spots tomorrow morning across the island, which is where this was. This is another one from the south coast, but can you name where? The answer after the break.
The last time we sent the CBC's Terry Roberts out on the road, he came back with a story that had everybody in the province talking, and that was a story about the costs of the ferry in St. Brendan's. This time we sent Terry out to Galtus. So Terry, what did you go after this time?
Well, Anthony, I was drawn to Galtus because of something we did here at the CBC 28 years ago. It was an episode of Land and Sea, which spotlighted that South Coast community, which time Fishery Products International decided it was closing the fish plant in Galtus. Now that was a devastating blow for that town. At the time, 600 people there. So the CBC was there when that fateful phone call was made, and the mayor of the day, Roy Ingram, accepted that call, and the news spread around the town that the plant was going to close. Well, I decided I'd go back and find some of the people who were spotlighted in that episode, and one of them was Mayor Roy Ingram. And as you'll hear, his attitude toward the town today is a lot different than it was back then.
Well, I'd be settled now if, I'm showing you, I don't spend a lot of time here.
So you've given up on Galtus, you think?
Well, I can't say given up, but I haven't got much pride into it now.
So when can we see this series?
Well, we're going to roll out a story on our website on Sunday. It'll be a feature story detailing how that town has, its population has plummeted since that fateful phone call in 1990. And we'll also be having a two-part series on Here and Now starting on Monday and part 2 on Tuesday.
All right, look forward to it. Meanwhile, Ramona Deering's been working on some resettlement story. How are you doing?
I'm great, thanks. Gearing up for a town hall that we're going to be putting off in Gambo on Wednesday evening. Talking about resettlement, such a difficult issue right now. Some people saying it really has to happen in a big way. Others saying, whoa, that's not what we want. That is not what we're selling the tourists, right? What happens if all of these tiny settlements just disappear? What is Newfoundland and Labrador at that point? So we have lots to discuss. Everyone is welcome, Anthony. It's an accessible venue. Right. The Smallwood Interpretation Center in Gambo, of course, because Joey Smallwood was the first one who dealt with this issue, right? Absolutely. That's Wednesday at 7:30, and we'll be broadcasting live on Facebook as well, on CBC NL's Facebook page, so everyone can have their say.
Excellent. All right, so good time to be in Gambo if you can make it. And of course, Joey will be overlooking everything, and it should be an interesting conversation. Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah, so big night in Gambo next week.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's a big night for us right now because we want to see who's celebrating birthdays and anniversaries. Have a look. Happy 94th birthday to Grace Cook of St. John's, who celebrated on the 19th. Happy birthday to Nelson Keefe of Little Harbor, who turns 97 years old this Sunday. Jenny Dalton of Cape Royal will be 93 coming up on Tuesday. Wishing Margaret Coos a happy 90th birthday. Happy 92nd birthday to Harry Hodder of Stephenville.
And a happy 65th wedding anniversary to Clyde and Georgina Thomas of Lanseau-Clare. Happy 98th birthday greetings going out to Wilfred Davis in Forto. Birthday greetings to Daisy Penny in beautiful Salvage, who celebrated her 92nd birthday this week. A happy 61st wedding anniversary to Donald and Bertha Toraville from Gander Bay. And it's a 60th wedding anniversary for Huey and Kay Alley of St. David's.
Happy birthday to Doreen Rideout coming up on Wednesday. She will be 91 years old. Best wishes to Linda and Norman Skinner of Galtus on their 51st anniversary yesterday. Happy 92nd birthday this week to Phyllis Loader of Cooks Harbor. Happy 50th wedding anniversary today to Ross and Olive Russell from Stoneville. Happy birthday to Sidney Guy of Leading Tickles, who's celebrating his 90th birthday.
59th anniversary greetings to George and Frances Bowles in Ramia. Ralph and Mabel Starks from Nippers Harbor are celebrating their 60th anniversary. That's this Tuesday. Happy 50th anniversary to Jim and Irene Moss, who are celebrating their special anniversary today. And a happy 91st birthday to Irene Loader of Summerside, who celebrates on Sunday. And birthday greetings to Emily Penny of Seldom, now at the Fogo Island Health Center, who had her 96th birthday this week.
Happy 92nd birthday greetings going out to Leslie Jack Elms. Special greetings to Winnie Randall, who celebrated her 102nd birthday recently. She was born in Happy Adventure and now lives in St. John's. Congratulations to Ronald and Dorothy Moore of Grand Falls, Windsor, who celebrated 67 years of marriage this week. Happy 67th anniversary as well to Sandy and Glowina Foss. Their special day was yesterday. Best wishes to Frank and Verly Hodnott of Embry, who have been married for 51 years.
And happy birthday to Mildred McKay of McKay's, who is 94 years old. Best wishes to Samuel and Una Simon on their 50th wedding anniversary yesterday. Formerly from Botwood, they now live in Grand Falls, Windsor. And best wishes to Bob and Rosemary Moore, who celebrated their 60th wedding anniversary yesterday. Cyril Clark in Pinson's Arm, Labrador will be celebrating his 91st birthday this Sunday.
Happy 55th wedding anniversary to John and Amelia Frampton of Monkstown, who celebrated this week. Big happy birthday going out to Leah Ackerman of Wareham, Bonavista Bay, who celebrated her 100th birthday yesterday. Celebrating today, Walter and Joy Wells from Corner Brook are enjoying their golden anniversary. Congratulations. Best wishes to Marie and Wilbert Weir of Little Bay Islands on their 64th anniversary tomorrow.
Happy 51st wedding anniversary to Dave and Lorraine Fowlo of Heart's Delight, Islington, celebrating on Sunday. And a happy 91st birthday to Gordon Bungay in Grand Bank. Happy 97th birthday to Stella Snow Kellaway in CBS. Anniversary greetings to Fred and Shirley Rose from Bishops Falls, who will be celebrating their 57th wedding anniversary on Sunday. And it's a golden anniversary tomorrow for Francis and Stella Hull, formerly from Springdale, now living in Corner Brook.
A very happy birthday to Hercilia Moores of Brigus, who celebrated her 102nd birthday this week. She's now in Clark's Beach. Happy 66th anniversary on Sunday to Whitfield and Nina McGraw of New Bonaventure, now in Clarenville. Congratulations to Edison and Hattie Brown of Harbour Lacoo, celebrated their 53rd anniversary yesterday. Greetings to Adelia Sparks from Summerford, who celebrates her 90th birthday coming up on Monday. And happy anniversary to Henry and Edith House of Belverns, currently in Corner Brook. They celebrated their 68th wedding anniversary this week. Congratulations once again to all.
Fine looking crew once again. Okay, so the weekend is ahead, and as I mentioned, we should have a pretty nice sunrise, especially east into central parts of Newfoundland for tomorrow morning, even parts of Labrador. Have a look at this beautiful picture. And this was our viewer picture of the day. I gave the clue, South Coast. Anthony Germain, a little cheating with the map.
He walked over and looked at the sides of the screen and guessed it.
That's right, and he guessed correctly. So the location on the to the left-hand side of the screen there was lawn. So that was a pretty good giveaway. That lawn just down the road, and this is a picture from beautiful St. Lawrence.
That's a gorgeous picture.
Nice, and you did nail it.
And look at that gazebo. People are go and enjoy that wherever it is exactly. Thanks, Erica.
And have a picnic.
Perfect.
In the cold. It's a nice shot, though. Beauty.
Anthony, you mentioned this is a big weekend, not only St. John Santa Claus Parade Sunday here, but Grey Cup weekend. And -4 there in Ottawa with a chance of flurries, so not bitter cold, but a pretty cold sit for those in attendance and, of course, the players. So.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, the big weekend. So we got the parade here, you got the Grey Cup there. There's always something to do. And looking forward to it. It's been a busy week.
Yeah, it has been a busy week, and I had to drag out my rain gear for on Sunday, it sounds. Hopefully people will get out despite what might be falling.
So he decides it's raining, and then he gets to go and ride in a truck during the parade, while the rest of us schmoes are going to have to walk in the rain.
Pretty much, yeah. Hopefully the rain holds off.
Have a great weekend, everyone. See ya.
Good night.
Bye now.